A few years ago, there was an expedition to climb Mount Everest. It was mostly a successful expedition, although unfortunately one of the members of the expedition perished. And after the climbers came back, they were interviewed. And in one of the interviews, the interviewer asked the member of the expedition, how do you deal with climbing such a mountain? 8,000 meters high. It's the same height that the airplanes fly at. How can you even think of climbing such a mountain? And he said, I don't think about the summit. I just think about the next step. That's all that's important to me. And eventually, I found myself at the top of the summit. And this is a very beautiful idea, and this is an idea that's relevant to Judaism, as we'll see in a moment. Perhaps one of the most recognizable scenes in the Bible is that of Jacob's ladder. Jacob flees home, flees his brother, his twin Esau, and he comes to the spot where eventually the Beit HaMikdash will be built. He lies down, it's night, he surrounds himself with stones to protect himself from wild beasts, and he has a dream. And in that dream he sees a sulam, a ladder, with its feet on the ground and its head in the heavens, and angels are going up and down. And God comes to him and he reassures him and he makes promises to him that he will protect him. And Yaakov wakes up in the morning and he's refreshed and he's able to lift himself up and continue on his momentous journey. What is the meaning of this sulam? What is the meaning of this ladder? Why did God show him a ladder? And one of the great Rosh Yeshivas of the Telz Yeshiva, first in Lithuania and then in America, said as follows. A sulam, a ladder, is a most incredible instrument. Because what a sulam does, what a ladder does, is that it's able to bridge two places that cannot be connected. I want to reach the ceiling. I can't reach the ceiling. I'm standing on the ground. But when I bring a ladder, I'm able to connect the ground and the ceiling. So what happens is that it's connecting two places that cannot be reached. What was Yaakov thinking about as he was making his way on his journey? He had just been learning Torah for a number of years, according to our sages. Now he was going out into the world. He would have to find a wife. He would have to get married. He'd have to build a business and a family. What were the thoughts that were going through his mind? And one of the thoughts was, well, how is he going to bridge heaven and earth? He lives here on the earth. He's a human being. But he also wants to connect to godliness. And he wants to do this in the physical world. But how do you bridge heaven and earth? So God shows him a ladder. And he says it's possible. But a ladder, of course, as we know, is made up of rungs. You have to climb slowly, slowly, slowly. You have to think just about the next step, not about the summit. If you think about the summit, you'll never reach the summit. You can't reach heaven. But you just think about the next step. That's the growth. That's what God was telling Jacob. You have to grow. You have to take the next step, one after the other. And then eventually you will reach the heavens. What's very interesting, and I heard this once from a rabbi who had learnt in the famous yeshiva of the Khatam Sofer in Pressburg, and he asked me as follows. He said, well, what was that ladder made out of? What was the material of that ladder? And we would answer, well, it was made out of wood, it was made out of metal, as most ladders are. And he said to me something which was quite incredible. He said, look at the famous poem Unatane Tokef that we say on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And in that poem we say that man is mortal. Man is going to be judged on Rosh Hashanah. Some are going to die and some are going to live. Some are going to die by fire, others by water, some by wild animals, some by the sword. It all sounds very, very worrying, and it makes us anxious. And then when we get to the end of the poem, we call out, we scream out, Uteshuva, Utefilu, Tzedakah, Ma'avirin et Ruach HaGezela. That through doing tshuva, repentance, and through tefillah, prayer, and through tzom, through a fast, we're able to avert the evil decree. Now, if you look in every single machzor, above those words, teshuva, tefillah, and tzedakah, there are little words. There is the word tzom, which means fast. There's the word mammon, which means money. And there's the word kol, which means voice, prayer. And each of those words has the same numerical value, 136. And guess what? Sulam, a ladder, is also 136. That's its numerical value. And therefore, what is that ladder made out of? What is the ladder of Jacob? It is made out of money. The money that we use to support others, charity. It is made out of the word tzom, which means fast, repenting, coming close to God, and call, which means the voice of prayer. The ladder that connects us between earth and heaven, that raises us up to God, to the Torah, is through doing good deeds, through giving charity, through repenting, through fasting, and through crying out to God. And that is the way that we climb up to the heaven. And then what will we achieve? Says the Talmud, that the sulam, the ladder, also represents Sinai, Mount Sinai. Again, the same numerical value. That God was saying, Jacob, that's how you get to the top of the ladder. You go up slowly, 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 step by step until you reach the summit. And what do you use? What are your rungs to get up there? Fasting, giving money, giving charity, and repenting to God. That is Jacob's ladder. And that's why when he woke up in the morning, he saw it was possible. He saw it was possible to bridge heaven and earth, and he was able to go on and become the Bechir Havot, the most choice worthy of all of the forefathers, the one who was able to build up the Jewish people and the 12 tribes, and ultimately to bring us to receive the Torah at Mount Sinai. I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom.